Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great. Now, your organization reportedly uncovered over 11,000 projects worth 6.93 trillion naira. Inserted by the National Assembly in the 2025 budget. I'd like you to talk to us about this. Some sort of breakdown maybe for us to understand all of this.
Yeah, thank you so much. Over the years, there is a period between the proposed budget and the approved budget. So, in the course of that, between the period of proposed and approved, we always notice that the figures will increase, and that is when the period where the insertions take place. And over the years, Nigeria has been plagued with budget paddling, insertions, new insertion by the time the budget is being approved. In the year 2021, over 5,601 insertions were noticed, which amount to now around 13 billion. In 2022, also we experienced such, which is over 6,004 new insertions, amounting to now around 10 billion naira. And just last year, 2024, we have 7,447, which amount to 2.24 trillion. And this year, having over 11,000 projects worth over 6 trillion. We can see the progression, the increase every year. When it comes to insertion, the number keeps increasing, the figure keeps increasing. And when you look at it, some of these agencies being used by the stakeholders, the National Assembly to do this paddling are not qualified to handle some of those projects that they were being asked to execute, and which to everyone we all know is a means of getting money to their own personal whatever. But this does not have any benefit to the Nigerian citizen. Some of these projects, like a ministry under agriculture, which is Ojuba, had just 11 line items at the level of proposed. And by the time the budget was approved, it has over 1,000 line items under its ministry, which means over 1,000 plus were being inserted. So that is why when you look at the breakdown, you will see that agriculture has the highest number of the insertion. Out of the 11,000, agriculture amount to 4,371 insertion. And look at it, if every project under agriculture is being executed, which means we will have enough food for the masses to take home. But with all this insertion, there has not been any significant change in the welfare of the people. So the insertion, Nigerians should ask the legislature, what are they meant for? Why do you have to insert over 11,000 in the period of proposed and approved budgets? Why is it that they has the power to just insert projects without asking the ministry what they are called or what they want to prioritize for the year? Thank you so much.
All right, to ask a very important question about whether or not they are able to liaise with the ministries and all of that, do you have answer to that question? Have you tried to understand what exactly happened? If those insertions came from the ministry, maybe they felt they needed to do more, they brought some of those insertions, maybe they tabled it before the assembly, or the assembly unilaterally did that, inserting all of those things. Could you even give us an inkling into what these insertions are? Maybe they'll help us understand who it's serving at the end of the day.
So some of these insertions, when you dig deep, you will notice that some of them are senatorial projects and constituency projects. And we all know how they all came from, where they all came from. And to be candid with you, they were not able to meet with the ministry before this insertion. I am not sure they met with the ministry, because before a president will present a budget, the ministry will have submitted what they want for the year. So if in the course of propose, are you telling me between the period of proposal and So the ministry have decided to, okay, for that of Oji River that has 11 line item, are you telling me, okay, in the process of the budget being in the legislative arm for passage, they were able to think over 1,000 new projects that they want to execute. So this, every Nigerian knows that truly this does not have the consultation of the MDAs or the agency, but because of all these senatorial projects and constituency projects, they had to insert all these projects to benefit themselves, and when they will say it's for their constituency benefit, but look at it. Some of these projects have been handled poorly. How can a ministry who does not know how to construct a road, who is not under the Ministry of Work, being given a road construction? So what do you expect to get a better or a good road construction? Or you will see a ministry that doesn't know anything about electrification being asked to install solar traffic lights everywhere, which some of these insertions are out of the mandates, are out of the purview of some of these MDAs. So for Nigeria to work, for everything to work, we need to do these things the right way it should be done. And what are the right way? Let the ministry determine the type of project they want to handle. The president submitted a proposed budget. Let the legislatures look into it and not add anything to it. They don't know better than the ministry. They don't know better than the ministry that is handling a project. I don't know anything about agriculture, and you are giving me a project under agriculture. This has been happening before now, and the economic benefit is what? Is minimal. It's so minimal. So, to my best of my own understanding, I don't think the MDAs were carried out before the insertion take place. That is why some of our corrupt practice organization needs to look into this. Last year, one of them, a legislature, also raised that alarm in person of Senator Ningi, and we all know what happened. It was sanctioned for this.
Well, let's come back to this. I'm just a bit worried. I mean, if I run a ministry, I make some proposals, line items in the budget, and at the end of the day, when the budget is approved, I'm saying something different. Am I not supposed to, make some noise or raise it? Why are they flagging these things? Why are they waiting for it to be flagged by CSOs, media, and all that?
Thank you so much. CSOs, we advocate for transparency, we advocate for citizen engagement, we advocate for good governance. And so the MDAs, let me tell you one thing, you cannot be better than your boss. So they have to succumb, because some of them still want to keep their positions. We all know how things is being done in Nigeria. You raise an alarm and you are what? You are out of the office. Even one of them last year, like I said, Senator Ningin, raised an alarm over some insertion, and we all know what happened. How the budget was increased last year, and we all know the punishment that was meant to him. So some of this NDA, they have to dance to the tune also. They have to play along.
Right. I understand they're having back and forth around whether these insertions are legal or not. You also talked about it. But you might also want to call it budget padding. But so far, we do not have a Supreme Court ruling on the matter. I remember in 2024, the Minister of Budget and National Planning posited that the lawmakers were right to insert line items and the likes. So what's your thoughts on that? At what point do we then draw the line to say, though you probably have the rights right now, but when it begins to get to a certain level, then it becomes padding, it becomes a problem?
So thank you so much. Fine, every senator has a project they need to impute for their constituency, but not what. That is why we have the 100 billion zonal intervention fund, which is meant for the senator to use for their senatorial and constituency project. So when you are inserting that into an MDA or a ministry budget, it becomes illegal. To be candid, it becomes illegal, because you have your own envelope, which is the 100 billion for your project, for your constituency and senatorial project. So why now insert that into the MDA project, and you talk about the Supreme Court. Who controls the Supreme Court? The Supreme Court is all under the Nigerian government. So they dance to their tune at times. Sorry to say this, they dance to their tune at times. So most times we don't get what we really need from all this legislature.
Okay, do you think the EFCC and maybe ICPC can effectively track these questionable projects to sort of ensure accountability and value for money?
Yes, that is why so many CXOs always try to look for a way to hold the government accountable. So that is why you see them partner with all these corrupt commissions like the EFCC, like the ICPC, so that we can, when we flag some project, we try to also keep them in knowledge, also have the knowledge of this and that are happening. So EFCC and the ICPC should take it upon themselves, though they are under the government entity, but they have to also have the passion to satisfy the masses' hunger, which is what? Good governance. They must do what they have been asked to do. They must do what they have been asked to do. You will see a project being abandoned for a while, and every year it keeps appearing on the line item, and nothing is being done. Nothing is being done. A lot of projects that are being abandoned in our communities, in our countries, and nobody is saying anything about it. But when it is flagged by the CSO's organization, then it becomes an issue. They see it as what? As threat to their office. So one thing that the ICPC need to do is, and the EFCC has to do, they are there to what? To take away corruption, to look for the corrupt peoples among our legislature, and what? Blow the whistle when they are not doing what they are supposed to do. They have the zonal intervention money, they have 100 million earmarked for constituency and senatorial projects. Don't let this come into our project, our budget under the MDAs anymore. They should monitor this, and by so doing, we'll have a fine budget every year.
Quite interesting. I mean, beyond just probably unveiling or talking about these insertions, what do you think should be the next step moving forward? And apart from that, I think from your report, you were calling for the Attorney General to sort of seek a constitutional interpretation from the Supreme Court regarding, the National Assembly's power to introduce capital projects without executive approval. Now, if that does not happen, are we going to see BudgIT, take the matter to court for interpretation? I mean, how do we move forward beyond all of these insertions and all of this, revelations every year?
So that is why we do call on the citizen to get involved when they are involved in the process, in the budget process, because I know when the budget is being prepared, there is a circular that is sent around. So let's get involved. Let's know the project. Let's prioritize the project that the masses want. Let's each MBA also look at the project that will benefit the masses. That will benefit the masses, not the one that will benefit their pocket. For example, now when you are in the budget process, they should involve the CSO, they should involve the artisan, they should involve the MBAs, they should involve everybody, so that we look into the budget so that the budget can be a collective effort. What do people want? What is the immediate major need of the people? When you look at all of the instructions, some of them are not the basic needs of the masses. They are not part of what. Look at when the budget was passed. Priority was placed on defense. Fine, we all know that defense always have a larger percentage of the budget. Then health also, education also. When you look at some of these insertions, look at what was inserted for education, and does the insertion speak to what is needed in the education sector? So we should always, there should be priority given to the most important needs of the citizen, not just any project, not just any project. And the the Supreme Court also should let the citizen know the capacity of what the National Assembly owes when it comes to the budget, what the level they can go, their limitation, their power, where they can exercise their power, and what their limitations should be. So when the citizens are carried along in this aspect, they will also be able to check themselves, because when they know the citizens have the right, also the power also to monitor them, since the law is being published for everyone to see what their limit is and what their, I think this insertion will reduce a bit. We might not be able to copy it finally, but at least there'll be a reduction instead of having an increase every year.
All right, and of course, that interpretation is very important. So we are clear on what is happening and, and all of that. And I hope that budget will probably also drive that, to ensure that we get that interpretation from the court. Thank you so much, Oluwaseyifunmi. Adenuga, research.
That's most times, and that is why we always talk for citizens. Don't just sit down and look. Get involved also. We always feel like we don't want to get involved in politics, but you don't know politics control everything that you do. For example, you want to get something, you have been saving for a very long time to build a house, and okay, fine, the budget of your house is around 10 million naira, and by this year you have achieved that 10 million naira. By the time you go to the market to start building, you will notice that 10 million naira will not what? Will
All
not
right,
even get
we really need to go right now. Thank you so much, Oluwaseyifunmi, research and policy analyst, BudgIT. Thank you for your time on the show today.